In our first story, government is assuring that the perennial flooding experience in part of Accra will be a thing of the past from next year. And it cites a $200 million loan facility approved by Parliament for the Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development to comprehensively tackle the problem. The persistent floods over the years, especially in major cities including a capital, have also been blamed on the activities of ordinary Ghanaians. But for the sector minister, Samuel Atachia, he's saying government is ready to commit about 42 million Ghana cedis on sensitization alone, adding that the execution of the project will ultimately reduce the occurrence of flood and its risk to at least once every 10 years, irrespective of the amount of rainfall. He spoke to Kwesi Parker Wilson.
It has been ascertained, scientifically proven, a kind of infrastructure they want to build. For 10 good years, you could say that it can go to bed.
Without any floods in Accra?
Yes, without floods in Accra. Talking about the Odo Basin and the environs and all the spillovers that we see. Because they are going to do what we call permanent fix to what has been a more keen and challenging problem since Nkrumah's days. What you see is a comprehensive, fix of this problem. So they've weighed all the factors we are discussing now. If people should be dislodged, where do you put them? It's also part of the loan. If people should move from where they are to better places, what is the cost implication? So these are all matters that will be absorbed by the loan, and I think they'll be better off than we think. Because if you look at some of the interventions here, about 161 people and businesses will benefit from the structural flood mitigation measures. It's a huge situation. About 500,000 people from low-income communities will benefit from solid waste collection improvements and final disposal capacity improvements through the creation of landfills. So it is not a small matter. Some 73 people will benefit from the improved infrastructure. So we should just embrace this as the good fortune of President Akufo-Addo, because Nkrumah couldn't do this.
And for you as a sector minister, how do you feel about this? Because you've been accused of doing little to mitigate the floods in the country. In fact, especially here in Accra. About 2 weeks ago, we witnessed some heavy floods in Accra, the central region, and some parts of the northern part of the country. And you've been accused of doing little about it.
It's not a minister doing little about it. It's a nation that would want to spend on where it matters, especially in an area that will not generate you immediate income. It's not like going to the bond market and say that we want 3 billion for cocoa. When we're talking about drainage, it doesn't yield immediate dividends. That's why people pay less attention to that.
We're talking about human lives. They are human beings.
That is why we should go.
They do the production for the country. They generate the revenue.
That is why we should say that although drainage is not going to give you the immediate benefit, the consequence of mismanagement of our drainage system will have a toll on lives, livelihood, and properties. So that is why we should pay due regard to that. But you could see that it's only Akufo-Addo who is showing a difference. This is the first time we can receive about 200 million Ghana cedis to tackle this Selton and concrete lining projects. It's never happened in the history of our country. You can track the revenue levels that come to the ministry. It's like that. So when it matters most, as we've really underlined, and we pay less attention to it, the political will is not that let's spend in the areas where destruction could be imminent, then we're doing the nation a disservice.
Now, 5 members of the Anointed Palace Church have been arrested by the Sakumono police over an attack on officials of the Tema West Municipal Assembly on Monday. Now, the municipal chief executive, Adjoa Mwakun, works engineer, and the finance officer in the company of other task force members were attacked by youth of the community, 18 branch of the church. Now, the church is said to have failed to provide permits and documentation covering some ongoing projects there. The local government service says such attacks on MMDA staff are barbaric and must be condemned. Head of the service, engineer Dr. Nanato Arthur, at a news briefing in Tema, sent a strong warning to churches and other religious groups who continue to attack MMDA staff in the line of duty. Here's some more in this report.
Tema West Municipal Assembly, the chief executive and her officers were here to inspect his building permits. And the boys at the church beat them up so much that They couldn't resist.
An eyewitness account of Monday morning's violent confrontation between officials of a Tema West Municipal Assembly and some youth of Reverend Obofo's Anointed Palace Church in Tema. The task force, led by the Tema West Municipal Assembly Chief Executive, Adjoa Amwako, were confronted by club-wielding men from the church.
The engineer was beaten, his phone was smashed, the guys were beaten, the assembly vehicle, the mirror was smashed, the vehicle side was damaged badly, and it's all happening at APC.
The finance officer and other staff of the assembly were not spared. Operational vehicles and other equipment were also smashed in the altercation, while the task force members sustained injuries. Head of Local Government Service has condemned the attacks.
What happened yesterday is unlawful, and that we condemn it in no uncertain terms. That no individual has the right to attack any staff of the municipal, metro, and national assemblies throughout this nation, Ghana.
He's been explaining what triggered the confrontations.
The head of us had previously issued 4 summons to the church, but the leadership of the church never showed up. So the head of work served them with summons to report in the office of the following day with their documents. Just when they moved to carry on, some youth of the church rushed on them, took their red paint, poured on them, closed their main gate and main entrance gate, and started beating them with sticks, metal strips.
Nana Ato Ata, however, sent a strong warning to churches and other religious bodies who have the penchant of attacking MMDA staff.
We would like to inform Ghanaians that churches, mosques are under the state, but not the vice versa. In this regard, they are expected to act responsibly and desist from disobedience, violence, and vigilantism.
5 persons, meanwhile, are in the grips of the Sakumono police for their involvement in Monday's fracas.
I want to implore on the Ghana Police Service that those found culpable need to be brought to the books so that it will serve a deterrent to others.
Now we take you to the Upper East region, and government's delay in converting the Bolgatanga Polytechnic to a technical university is said to be contributing to low patronage of the school by prospective tertiary education applicant. Speaking at the 17th matriculation ceremony of the institution, the rector of the Polytechnic, Professor Samuel Erasmus Anna, said enrollment of students to the Polytechnic had been declining, and so the administration had to work extra hard to get more students enrolled this year. The Upper East regional correspondent was at the event and now reports.
This year, 745 students were matriculated to begin various courses at the Bolgatanga Polytechnic. The number, according to the rector, Professor Samuel Erasmus Alna, is an improvement from the enrollment last year. But this is only because the Polytechnic had to embark on serious campaigns in secondary schools and also do frequent radio advertisements to try and woo potential students to seek admission into the Polytechnic.
Aggressive efforts, we have moved to secondary schools, we have moved to several places to get students to be admitted. And then also the campaign that we have also done, that we are soon to be converted. So why don't we come? And then we are also running the top-up degree programs for all the business schools. So these are the issues that have kind of increased the enrollment. But for how long can we continue with this strategy?
Last year, only 511 students were enrolled at the Bolgatanga Polytechnic, which was a decline from 567 enrolled in 2017.
That's why we have been calling upon government to quickly convert the Polytechnic to a university. I know government has done a lot by way of providing equipment that try to retool us. We have the amateur project that has modern state-of-the-art facilities to train students in the engineering. We know that with this, it's highly likely that the conversion will come, but we don't know when. But we're just pleading that this should be done even before the end of the year. This is so because clearance have been given to all the universities to recruit. I think K University has already floated an advert requesting people to apply for faculty membership and other areas. So, given the fact that these universities are advertising for lecturers and we as a Polytechnics, our salaries are lower than their salaries, you see that those who have PhDs, those who are professionally qualified, will just leave and go. Then what is the point spending money to train lecturers in the Polytechnic to upgrade it only for them to fly to the university? So,
Professor Alna believes the Bolgatanga Polytechnic is gradually becoming unattractive to potential students, mainly because government is yet to convert it to a technical university, as it did with many polytechnics across the country.
And currently, out of the 10 polytechnics, 8 of them have been converted into technical universities. So we only have Bolgatanga Polytechnic and Wa Polytechnic. And all these institutions are supposed to be competing for students in the same market. So now, even someone wants to do just a simple certificate course, the fellow wants to go to an institution that has a university status, because the certificate will bear the university's name. If they come to Bolgatanga Polytechnic, it will bear Bolgatanga Polytechnic. Everybody wants to be associated with a university. So this kind of negatively affects our admission and the resources that we generate from the fees.
The rector, however, commended government for allocating 2,200,000 Ghana cedis for infrastructure development at the institution and another 185,000 Ghana cedis for research and faculty development. For JoyNews, Albert Sorry, reporting from Bolgatanga.
Now back to Accra, where some traders at Abogboloshi will have to face the law for storing food in what city authorities describe as toxic environments. Now, this was discovered during a tour of the market by AMA Sanitation Task Force under the Joy Clean Ghana campaign on Tuesday. Now, officials discovered that tolo beef, cowhide known as willy, and many common food items were stored in a highly contaminated environment. PSC Nana Yosafo was on the ground with them. Here's his report, read to you.
Revelations, heartbreak, repentance, and a few rebels. Today's edition of Joy Clean Ghana campaign had it all. The inspection continued in the Abogboloshi market of Accra, which the authorities vowed to make a model of cleanliness. Our team discovered beef soaked in an unidentified substance, improperly stored cabbage, and cowhides, popularly known as wele, stored close to a urinal. But as we'll find out, this was just the tip of the iceberg.
Adulterated meat, and we have been here not once, not twice. We confiscated most of these things some time ago. So as we are here today to see whether they have stopped after we did the confiscation, meaning they haven't stopped. So we are going to confiscate all these things again in here. So you see.
So you can just see. You can imagine this. So this particular thing, so just have a look. So, but it's hidden here. And at the end of the day, it finds itself into the market for sale. Okay, so already it's considered unwholesome. This is serious. Before, yeah, everything should go to the car. Everything should go. All these things are, I mean, take it all along. That we are struggling in the country to battle is, you can see. You see? So this is where they'll bring it.
I back of Fuquano, I don't be asked or do so. My quack, how am I so? My book is a fridge and see him. But your back of book is a fridge and see him.
The public health inspectors closed down the wholesale facility. Many traders in Accra and beyond buy food from here to be sold to consumers across the country. Officials also proceeded into parts of the market, confiscating all goods being sold directly on the bare ground.
A day is coming, we will come here with a van Anybody we arrest, we put the person in the van, and then we do straight law enforcement. We carry them straight from the field to the court for prosecutions. Today we have given abatement notice to 6 persons. And these 6 persons, we've asked them to carry out some kind of work that they are supposed to do. So when they are finished cleaning up the areas, they will come and inform us. We go there to do the inspection and see that wherever the food product were, and we see that the place is neat, then we allow them to go. But we gave them 3 days.
Not all learned their lessons, though, as a gang of men attacked AMA vehicles and task force from claiming their unhygienic wares.
The task force were attacked, and some of the things that we confiscated were taken away. But we know the people, and when we leave here, we are going to lay a complaint, and those people will be picked up. But in the near future, and then the plans going forward, we are going to make sure that any time that we are coming out, we have a permanent police officer or security officers that will be with us in order to come out to achieve the Clean Ghana campaign that we are doing now.
The team is not giving up in making Agbogbloshie Market a model of proper sanitation.
The whole of Greater Accra is our food market. This is where almost every trader that's trade in food products come to get their wholesale before they go to do the retail. You don't want a situation whereby you buy contaminated food, you go and eat, and the end of it all, you end up in the hospital. By the close of this year, I think we will see a different face of Agbogbloshie. I can say that Clean Ghana campaign is really making a very, very positive impact.
You may not buy there, you may never have been there, but your favorite food vendor and or cafeteria chef probably does. Food contamination is a risk too big to ignore. All hands on deck. Let's keep Ghana clean. PSA Nanaya Osafos reports for Joy Clean Ghana campaign.
Boy. All right, well, that's where we bring the bulletin to an end, but the show's just begun. We're about to delve into those newspapers. Mamavi, Roland, and I will be right here sitting in a semicircle doing it as we always do right after these.